Dolph Ziggler, Sheldon Benjamin, Evan Bourne,
Kane.
Kane versus Edge, because we didn't see it enough in 2004. Yeah, tremendous. Yeah, so he's my pick, and Drew McIntyre, they're going to keep trying and keep trying and keep trying, and he's young, he's only like in his early 20s, he has the potential to develop. This character they have him playing, I'm not condemning him outright yet. This character he's playing is this slow, monotonous, low-speaking guy, and it doesn't work very well at all. I'm not saying he should be jumping up and down and that kind of thing either. But it's early days, and they do have the potential down the road to maybe find something. And guys, as they grow up, they get older. I mean, the guy's only barely legal to drink in America, for God's sakes. In 5 years from now, like Randy Orton, when they first put the belt on him, he looked like he had no charisma either. That was 2004, and now Randy Orton looks like one of the most charismatic heels in the company today. So even though he's a babyface, that's another argument for another day. So I'm not writing him off indefinitely. He's going to get a million chances because they love him. He's tall. He's got a good physique, So he's going to get a million chances, and if he doesn't screw up, he'll probably be with this company for the next 15 years.
If you guaranteed he's going to win the match. He's lost his last 3 matches, which he's losing to winning. And he's lost to guys like Matt Hardy, Kane, and The Undertaker, I know, but...
Yeah.
So then up next, we got Brett and Vince in a no-holds-barred match.
Well, it's obvious where this is going. Brett obviously has to win it, and the fact that Vince said, "You're screwed" on Raw, my guess is that somebody will run down to try and help Vince. Could be any one of a number of guys. And I'd say there's a half good chance that a bunch of Brett's family will get involved and will turn into a big schmoz. Which would be kind of a nice visual and a nice way to promote the DVD. And Stu Hart went into the Hall of Fame the night before. So that's the kind of finish I expect. But there's no way this is finishing other than Bret Hart putting the sharpshooter on Vince McMahon. And for anybody expecting Bret Hart to be wearing tights, for him to be able to execute even a body slam or a backbreaker, the Bret can do nothing, nothing. So I hope you don't have your hopes up that way. It'll be nice to see him come out to the music and do a couple of spots and get the bell ringing and stuff like that. But this isn't going to be a match. This is going to be, a bunch of gimmicks. My guess is that it'll be Bret beating up Vince for 8 minutes. Then someone comes down to make the save because Vince can't even get heat on Bret. He's too sloppy, and Bret can't take anything. I mean, he can't take anything. Not a bump, not a punch, nothing. So my guess is that Bret's going to beat him all around ringside for 8 minutes. Someone will run down to the ring, and then Bret Hart's family will get involved, and it should be really good times.
You do realize people have ridiculous high standards for this match, right?
I know. I've been I don't know. It's like I've had a bunch of people like in emails and stuff like that. The sense that I get is that people are expecting a good match. You get that too?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's bizarre. This is purely for a moment. That is what this is for.
This is storyline, and for the moment where Vince McMahon is going to tap out.
Yes, that is all this is. And yeah, anybody expecting anything different or like the Bret Hart of old or something, wow, God bless you. It's a shame because they might be disappointed. I just hope there's enough old school fans in the building so Bret gets a nice reaction because this is going to be his last hurrah in terms of,
Oh, he will.
Yeah. I certainly hope so. If you're to
the
go
WrestleMania crowd is usually a nice crowd as well.
That's true. They really are, and they come from so far afield as well. So I think you're right.
And then we'll go with The Undertaker and Shawn Michaels.
Wow, you jump into the big guns early here.
Well, I thought just like at WrestleMania, they'll leave the titles for last.
Okay. Let's see. It's going to be an interesting night. What's the bet? It's a bottle of Captain Morgan's, isn't it? Even though the idea of
SummerSlam.
yeah. Even though the idea of a drink at that point in the morning after 2 days of party, I'm sure it's going to be the last thing on our minds. Shawn Michaels versus Undertaker. Undertaker is going over. That is what I mean. I can't say what I would book here, only that I'd make it. I mean, because it depends on where both guys are, what they're feeling in their careers. I can tell you that I wouldn't have Undertaker lose simply because there's no point in maybe anybody beating him for the streak. I'm not sure that anybody would really benefit. I'm not sure that, 3 weeks after anybody pinned The Undertaker to win the streak, that it would actually make any tangible difference in business. I don't think it would. So, my whole feeling on that has really kind of changed a lot over the years to the point where I feel that Undertaker should never lose at WrestleMania. He certainly shouldn't lose to Shawn because Shawn is on the brink of retirement no matter what you say. I think Taker's going over here. I think if they do it right, it'll be a very emotional moment. It'll be, Shawn will concede that Undertaker beat him. And, I don't like the idea of a retirement stipulation where a guy is unwilling, doesn't want to retire, because to me that's ridiculous, because it's like, so Shawn Michaels lost to The Undertaker in this one match. So what? How does that make him worse than everybody else on the show? You know what I mean? So from a storyline aspect, I don't like that. It's a no DQ match, which means they're going to have tons of opportunities to do all sorts of gimmicks and stuff, and that's great because both guys are really beaten up, and they couldn't beat last year's match even if they weren't anyway. Last year's match was great, and you couldn't really beat it in the ring. So I think it'll be a great match. I think it'll be given lots of time. I'm really curious, Adam, who do you think the crowd's going to be behind for this match? I can't help but feel that with the retirement stip on the line to a degree, that might put them behind Shawn, but The Undertaker's a cooler character, and they were behind Undertaker last year, so...
Yeah, no, it's going to be very split. Very, very split. Probably more Shawn Michaels, but it still goes back to what I said earlier. No one believes this is his final match. So
that's true. That's true. That does.
I don't even know if this. I don't even know if this is going to have half the heat of last year. To be honest with you,
you don't know if it's going to be half as good as last year.
Half the heat as last year had.
I think it will, and I think the reason why is because last year was a great match, but this year they've got a great storyline going into it. And the storyline is what makes the heat. It's not the quality of the wrestling. And not only is the wrestling...
Anytime they bring it up, anytime they say, last year we stole the show, or Shawn Michaels and things stole the show, you hear about 5 people in the crowd stand up and clap, but no one really reacts.
By which you mean that they've forgotten it, or you mean...
They forgot it, or it's just kids in the crowd and they didn't see the match, or they don't really know what a great match is. Like that.
Well, if that's true though, then they should definitely get more heat than last year because they'll have, they have this great build-up going in this year, which they didn't have last year. So if everybody's forgotten about how great last year was and their expectations aren't, set to that standard, it'll be easier for them to surpass them. In terms of actual match quality, it'll be a different match. It'll be a brawl, and the
I don't think it can be last year because it was just so special at the time. And I don't want it to. You know what I mean?
Oh, I think
I like the memory of last year, and I'm fine with don't outdo it, don't kill yourself trying to make it better.
I think it could be better, but yeah, I'm very worried about the risks these guys are going to take. Because if this is, Shawn's last, huge match, like his kind of testimonial style match, last year, everybody forgets this, but last year he did a moonsault from the top rope to the concrete with no catcher. Everybody forgets that because Taker did a dive over the top rope.
Taker nearly died.
And landed on his head, But it's kind of like, if you shoot a guy... and then the Holocaust happens the next day, everybody forgets about shooting the guy. But shooting the guy is really bad, And if this is his last match, Shawn does really stupid things at WrestleMania a lot of years, most years, in fact, and I'm really worried about these guys doing really stupid things because they don't need to do really stupid things. They can do, look at the ladder match, the start of Destination X. I mean, a bunch of the coolest spots, like the run off the ladder to the floor, actually came across were actually quite... guys came out relatively unscathed, where some of the lesser spots, like a ladder just fell over, guys managed to just about kill themselves on the way down. And Michaels has this weird psychology, as obviously did The Undertaker in that one spot, but he didn't expect it to go the way it did, which is dumb in hindsight. But
he's going to try it again, right?
He'll try it again, but I think he'll be smart enough to at least have a couple of officials down there to catch him or something. I mean, the first time I remember him doing it was in a feud with Shawn Michaels in 1997. It was at the end of their match at Ground Zero, that awesome match which turned into a brawl, and the locker room came out to separate the two guys at the end because it got out of hand, and Taker did a dive onto everybody, and it was great. And it actually looked better anyway than just diving onto one guy. So, we
used to do it all the time.
Yeah,
in Celtic Pro, we have the one guy dive onto about 40,000, and then we'd all just fall over.
Exactly. Yeah, I dove onto you and John Jennings that time. When you do it with a bunch of guys, it's safe and it's fun. When you do it with one guy and you die, it's not fun anymore. It was the biggest thing, like we talked about it then. The biggest thing that hurt that